Have you ever wanted to cross the Haunted Wasteland without the Lens of Truth? Today, we'll be covering how to consistently cross the Haunted Wasteland both forward and reverse as both adult and child. Afterward, we'll also cover how to skip the quicksand without any item requirements as both adult and child. Let's get right into it, shall we? This is mostly a beginner setup. As adult, the first thing you want to do is line yourself up with the wall anywhere around here by Z-targeting. When in position, perform a side hop to your left. Turn to your left and side hop right. We will then backwalk straight until we see the flagpole under our C down. Right about here. From here, you'll want to turn around. Try looking to your left. You'll notice there's a meeting point between the hill on your right and the flatter hill on your left. Cross the meeting point and follow the line remaining on the right side of it. We'll need to spend some time paying attention to the geometry of the environment, as this will be full of visual cues for you. Another visual cue you can rely on is the white stripe on the other side of this texture here. This marks where you can cross over to the other side of this line on the hill ahead of you. Looking straight, you'll notice you're going to the top of a hill. At the top, you'll notice a sharp line here. It will be harder to see if you turn. We can use this to point ourselves in the right direction. If you follow this straight all the way down, you'll be fine until the last turn. If you walk around the ditch here or just turn toward the center of the flagpoles, you'll have hit the goal. Doing this in reverse will require you to use slightly different visual cues. The ditch is more noticeable from this perspective. You'll be making your way around the perimeter of the ditch, keeping it a little to your right. You run a high chance of voiding out if you stick to your left. A good visual cue to remember is the bottom of this hill here. The bottom here is a good indicator of your straight line to follow after turning around the ditch. If you're very keen to detail, you'll notice the line we originally used to come down from the hill. If you cross that, you will void out. You can start to turn as you climb this hill. Pay specific attention to this line. You cannot cross this until you reach a certain point. Follow the line down the hill instead. From here you can turn into the initial white line. The meeting point between the two hills is more defined from this perspective. Follow the line on your left 3 white lines after the initial white line, or turn between the 2 middle flags. Doing this as a child is actually a little bit easier. Start off the same way as before with your backwalk setup. Instead of side hopping here, try sidewalking instead, then hold backwalk. This time, you'll go a little further than before. Your hitbox isn't as big as it used to be. Remember the flagpole? We're going to get it close to the center of C down, right about here. After you do that, just side hop right until you begin climbing the hill. I'd stop after 3 or 4 side hops up the hill. Run up the hill, and from here on follow the same routine you did as with adult, by following the peak line down and turning around the ditch. You do have some freedom on your left but not the right. When heading in this direction, always dodge levers to your left. Vice versa on the way back. Be sure to somewhat recenter yourself. The trip back is the same as adult, but you do have a little more lenience towards the end compared to adult due to your thinner hitbox. In other words, you won't void out as easily. The void out locations do not change between the 2 ages, but your hitbox does, just something to keep in mind. And that covers both the child and adult methods. From this side of the quicksand, as long as you're not between the 3 crates, if you're facing opposite to the quicksand, rolling to release yourself from the sand and backwalking will be enough to cross the quicksand. If you look closely, you'll see the line at the center of the quicksand. You cannot cross this from the middle of the 3 crates without hovers unless you're a child. You cannot do this from a backwalk if your feet are buried in sand. A roll will release you from the sand, allowing max backwalk speed from the start. Remember this as it's essential to the strat. From this side of the quicksand, head over to this corner. Imagine this line as continuous, as you cannot cross it even on the safe side of the quicksand. You want to center your peak under the B button. This is off center, and that's what you want. This is not actually precise. For the most part, you just want to keep the peak around this point. Proceed to look back, Z-target, roll, and backwalk. The moment you reach the top of the sand, I'd strongly recommend side hopping. It helps you avoid voiding out, as the top of the sand here is very close to the edge of the void out area. You have plenty of freedom after you side hop. As Child, your angle isn't as precise. This isn't because of your speed. Child backwalk has a movement speed of 12.375, while adult backwalk has a value of 13.5. What does cause adult to fail backwalking quicksand is generally the larger hitbox. Aside from being able to backwalk the quicksand from more angles, and even the center of the 3 crates, Child operates the same as adult. Child simply has a smaller hitbox, so it's easier not to void out. Anyway, thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time. Be sure to subscribe if you're interested in more tricks and glitches. Ciao.